Hello, welcome back to another speed build with Frimlin. Today I'm doing a rather simple build. It's a retail lot, and in this case it is a pet store. Well, you can probably already see from the title of the video. This speed build is also different for another reason, and that is my mum is here and she's going to help us with the commentary today. Hello, Mum.
Hello, Ash.
So my mum's name is Evelyn and she's originally from England, and I think you probably know, but I'm from New Zealand and that's where Mum raised me, but Mum now lives back in the UK and I'm living in France. I came here for my last 2 jobs, and so Mum's come across from the UK to visit me for a little while, for a couple of weeks, and she's going away next week. But yeah, I thought it would be nice if she came along and helped me record the commentary for this speed build. So we kind of agreed some ground rules beforehand. Basically, I wanted to ask her a few questions about her life, but we've decided not to talk about any years. We're just going to talk about ages, and that's out of respect to us both. So first of all, so Mum, you told me earlier that in your late teens you worked as what was it you worked as?
Well, I trained as a nurse for about 6 or 7 years.
Right.
In Derby.
And that was in Derby in the UK?
Yes.
Yeah, in the UK. And you enjoyed doing that, of course?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was a great job.
A kind of unscripted question, but what did you enjoy the most about it?
Well, I worked in theatres, working in theatres.
So you mean with surgery?
Yeah, surgical theatres, and I just loved that.
Okay. And surgery, I imagine it wasn't massively advanced back then.
No, unfortunately, but no, it wasn't.
But there was still lots of things you did.
Oh, yes, yes, and we saved a lot of lives, I'm sure.
That's good. So then in your 20s or so, you changed jobs for a little while before going back to nursing.
Yes, I decided I wanted to be an air hostess, so I did that for 2 or 3 years.
And if I'm not mistaken, that was quite unusual. I mean, there wasn't many air hostesses back then.
Oh no, because it was in the very small airline. But we carried passengers across to the continent sometimes.
So it was based in the UK, and you'd fly across to mainland Europe.
Well, we went to Jersey and Guernsey mainly with holidaymakers.
Okay, really? To the Channel Islands? Okay. But you also went to like France as well, didn't you?
I went to Ostend, and then we went
Where's Ostend?
In Belgium.
In Belgium, okay.
And then we took a trip to Lourdes in France.
Okay, that's cool. So it wasn't really like a commercial airlines these days. It was, I think you said earlier, it was a chartered airline.
Chartered, yes. People charter a plane to take them to places.
These were groups of people there?
Yes.
And they'll do it regularly?
Yes.
Okay, that's really cool. I didn't know that. I thought it was more like a commercial plane that you were on. But did you ever go across like the Atlantic to the Canada or America?
No.
Because the plane wasn't big enough?
Well, that's right. It was only a small plane.
And you're in a relatively small airport. Yeah. But there were planes going across to America and Canada back then.
From places like Heathrow and places like that.
Okay, much bigger airports.
Bigger airports, yeah.
Okay, cool. So then you went back to nursing after that?
Yeah, I went back to nursing for a few years.
Okay, cool. And that was when you were back at nursing, that's when you met Dad, wasn't it?
Yes, I met him, and then we got married, and we went to Canada with his job. Lived in Montreal for 6 years.
Okay, that's cool. So when you were in Canada, in Montreal, did you learn any French?
No, not very much really, because they spoke English there.
What, everyone or the majority of people?
No, there was parts of Montreal that were French speaking, and most of Quebec, in rural Quebec, was French speaking. So
Okay, so it was like the majority outside of Montreal.
yes.
Wow,
yes,
I didn't
it
know
was.
that. And I guess it's probably the same today.
Oh, it is. It's still the same. It's not changed at all.
So you were there in Montreal, and what was Dad doing?
Well, he was an engineer for aerospace.
Okay, and then after that, after you'd been in Montreal for a few years, then you moved on to, was it Seattle?
Yes, we had 6 years in Montreal and then went to Seattle for about 7 months.
Okay, that's cool. And did you like living in Seattle?
Oh, I did. I loved that coast, the west coast of America and Canada. It was lovely. I really enjoyed Seattle. It's an interesting city.
So what exactly was Dad doing in Seattle?
Well, he was working for the company Boeing, and then he moved on to NASA just for a few weeks.
Okay, cool. So you were there in total for about, I don't know, 6-7 months, you were saying?
Yes, about 7 months in.
Okay. And then you moved to New Zealand, which is where my dad's from.
Yes, we went to live in Christchurch, New Zealand, which is in the South Island.
So what did you think about Christchurch when you arrived there?
Oh, I liked it very much. It was a very friendly city.
Okay, good. And I remember you once told me that because you'd been like in England and in Canada and the US, when you came to New Zealand you felt like it seemed a little bit kind of behind the times.
It was behind the times in that era, yes.
And that was like what people wore or the kind of stuff people had?
Yes, it was what was available and what type of cars they had at that time.
They seemed older than what you were used to in Canada.
Older versions of clothes and transport and...
That's funny. That's very funny that it seems so obvious, but I can just imagine if you'd got used to it overseas, got used to what was then modern fashions and stuff, and then you came across to New Zealand and it hadn't quite caught up with the rest of the world.
That's very true.
Because nowadays in the modern world it's much easier to keep up with overseas fashions. I mean, you can see everything on television and the internet and stuff like that.
Well, yes, television was there, but they only had 1 or 2 channels.
Yeah. So things have kind of moved on from there because there's like lots of TV channels now, and of course we have the internet, so we can watch stuff on the internet as well. So you'd been in New Zealand for a little while, you and Dad, and you decided that you needed to start a family. So you adopted my sister first, and then a couple of years later you adopted me.
Yes.
And that was kind of like a complete nuclear family then, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And I think from talking about it before, it was kind of encouraged for parents who were starting a family, through adoption, that you would have this kind of nuclear family, wouldn't you, with
yes, that
a
was
couple
the
of kids.
idea at the time.
So then, many years later, when my sister and I had grown up, you moved back to the UK again.
Yes, I came back to Derbyshire there, county that I lived in.
Yeah, and you're still living there now.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and did you like living in the UK again?
Well, yes, I do. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and you made lots of new friends there, haven't you?
Yes, I have, lots.
Okay, so we're going to go and talk about the build now, because we kind of run out of subjects to talk about.
Yeah, I know.
And so this is, I think I told you, Mum, well, you saw me building it, I think, but this is a pet store. But there's also like this apartment above it, so the people who run the store can live upstairs.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so. And, but yeah, I did the outside first, and then I did the garden at the back. I think you saw the garden.
Yes, lovely garden.
Thank you very much for the positive reinforcement there, Mum. And this is like the master bedroom now. It's quite small, but you can still fit a double bed in there. And then there's outside there's like a lounge with a television, and I think I put a bookcase there. And then this is like a kid's room, And I placed this doll's house, but then I realized that there really wasn't enough space for it because I was using the Move Objects cheat that allows you to place anything anywhere. And I realized that probably people couldn't interact with the doll's house very well, so I had to take it out. So I had to put some other stuff in there. I think I put in like an activity table so the kids can like paint and, you know, do drawings and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a very green bedroom. So now this is the kitchen, and it's a very small kitchen.
Well, it looks okay for doing everything.
Yeah, you can still cook in there, and you know, there's a fridge, and now I'm placing like a little kind of pet feeder so you can have cats or dogs inside there. And yeah, just a little bit of decoration because there isn't very much counter space, so you have to leave some counters free, you see, for the Sims to prepare food on.
Well, of course.
Because if there isn't, they kind of complain and they won't actually cook anything, which would be bad.
It would.
So little computer area, because you know nowadays computers are very important. And yeah, that's like a kind of almost like a formal dining room, but because it's such a small apartment, you know, there's like this study area as well. But now we're in the actual pet store downstairs. I saved the best for last. So there's kind of like a counter and some decoration on the counter, and I'm very carefully placing things on the counter there so they look a bit more natural. And we have a fireplace there to keep the place warm in winter, because winter is going to be a thing. Now we're going to have the Seasons expansion pack coming up in a few days.
Yes, and you've got to keep the pets warm.
Yeah, I'm going to keep the pets warm. Well, there aren't any pets in the pet store per se. You can't buy pets in the game. You can only buy stuff for pets. But yeah, the fireplace can keep the place warm for customers, of course. So that's always a good thing. So yeah, I'm just decorating the walls now.
They're very colourful, the walls.
Yeah, thank you. I just thought it would be good to have like the wood on the floor, and you get all the wood from the windows, and so I thought I would make the walls white, so it's like a kind of a neutral background to put things on, and then everything else, because the pet stuff, the stuff for the pets is quite colourful, so I thought it would be then quite easy to kind of make the place kind of cheerful and happy with all the colour.
Oh, I like those lights.
Yeah, there's like cat-shaped, or kind of cat-shaped. They've got like cat ears on them. And then there's also cat-shaped mirrors on the wall, you see.
Oh, those are interesting.
And then these little kind of table lights, you see.
Oh.
They got kind of cat or pet or animal shapes to them. Now that actually is a pet there, but it can't be for sale. That is like a small furry pet in that cage you see by the sofa.
Oh, I see.
And then I'm trying to place this kind of frog rug. But I think later on I get rid of that because I just couldn't get the right place for it. I just didn't think it seemed to fit. But I might be wrong. It might still be there.
Well, it looks interesting.
Yeah. And then that's like a coffee table. You saw it just for a split second. There's like a coffee table that has like an aquarium in it, but I think you'll see that a bit later. And now I'm putting some kind of...
I like that, the dog on the wall.
Yeah, that's kind of like a growth chart for kids. They have a lot of these kind of growth charts and all these kind of cats and dogs and pet designs. And I kind of wish that they would have them without the growth charts behind them, but that's just the way it is.
Well, they look good on the wall.
Yeah. And so these are little statues of cats of all different colours.
Aren't they lovely?
Yeah, and then we've got like statues of dogs as well, you know, so if someone's like a cat lover, they can get cat stuff, or if they're a dog lover.
Yes.
Yeah, and you might even be able to find like a cat statue that looks like a cat that your family used to have.
Yes.
Or something like that, so it's kind of like a reminder of them. And the same with the dog. And these little things here, I think they're pet toys. So like cats and dogs can chew them and run around with them in their mouths and stuff like that. And I didn't have enough of these 3-colour cat statues, so I had to stick some little rubber duckies down in front of them. And then I'm now decorating the counter a bit more, and I put in some like cat food, what do you call them, jars.
Oh yes.
So like the owner of the pet store can like give a little treat to the pets that come in.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, just a nice little touch. And now I'm placing some signs outside, but basically this kind of style, this is kind of like the old town Windenberg style. And so I didn't want to have any kind of garish, bright signs outside. I wanted it to be quite subtle, and so I've gone with this kind of modern, almost old style sign outside. And I've kind of continued with this. I don't know if you can see it. There's like these 2 little dog logos for the
they
the
look
sign.
like pigs.
And we moved on from that now. But I was talking about the signs outside. This is something that happens with speed builds, Mum, is that things move on so quickly. You start talking about something, and then it's already gone off the screen, and I feel a bit stupid now, you know. So I'm just sticking some like pet bowls for food, and I think under these what do you call them, benches, I then stick some pet food. Anyway, we're coming up to the showcase. So what do you think of the place so far, Mum?
Oh, I think it's great.
Oh, that's very sweet, Mum. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, so the showcase is coming up in just a second. So there you go, a cute and cozy pet store in the heart of Windenberg's Old Town. Thank you so much, Mum, for helping me with my commentary.
You're welcome.
And thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll come back for another video soon. Take care. Goodbye.
Goodbye.